Welcome to some new r/petty revenge stories, where people share small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Booked Seats. I was traveling from Edinburgh to London by train and had a booked window seat with a table. I got on the train to find 4 guys sitting at the table. The one in my seat that was clearly marked as booked refused to move as he was with his friends and the train was packed. The ticket collector passed and I asked him to help. He asked the guy to move, but he refused, and somehow that was that. So what now? I asked. You can find another seat, but I have no power to move him. Only the police can move him, and they will not turn up just to move someone out of a seat. There were no seats free in the carriage, and probably not many free on the train, so standing to London was a possibility. I'm going to take a seat in first class. Better surroundings, power sockets, and free tea and coffee. You can't sit there, you don't have a booking. Well, you could call the police to move me, but apparently they won't turn out to move someone out of a seat. I had a lovely trip with power for my laptop and a white comfy seat. The next story is called My Driveway. Friday night I came home from work to find someone on our block was having a large party, and someone decided they were entitled to park in my driveway. My driveway is a single car width, lined with a retaining wall on both sides and a garage at the end. Essentially impossible for a tow truck to come to pull them out without property damage. Seeing this and the lack of street parking, I took this as a cue to park right behind them in my driveway. A few hours go by and the entitled parker is now knocking at my door, demanding I move my car so she can leave. Seeing as they were demanding, I informed them that I had been drinking and would not move my car. The entitled parker then decides to call the police to get them to force me to move. When the police knocked on my door, I was sure to grab a beer from the fridge before I answered to talk to the officer. I informed him that after I got home I was unwinding and had been drinking and was in no shape to drive. At this point their hands were tied because they couldn't tow her car out. I'm in no shape to drive and I'm legally parked in my driveway. I ended up telling the entitled parker that since it is a long weekend I would be on a weekend long bender and they could come to move the car after I go to work on Tuesday. The third story is called Morning Coffee. About a decade ago, I worked an early morning shift at a fast food restaurant. We opened at 6 AM, so I had to be at work at 5 AM. I would leave my house at about 4:45 AM every morning. My management was pretty relaxed about the opening shift. Clocking in up to 10 minutes late wasn't really an ordeal, as long as you showed up ready to go. I came outside at 4:45 to find that a local police officer has pulled someone over and is now blocking my driveway. This has happened before, but normally in the afternoon. And normally I just ask the officer to move forwards or back a couple of feet, and then I pull in or out of the driveway. No sweat. This officer, however, angrily informs me that I will have to wait till he's done. I snap a picture of his car, text it to my manager and explain my tardiness. 40 minutes later, the police officer finally moves. I scramble into the car and head to work. I get there 15 minutes before we open. I frantically start to brew tea and fetch ice, having to condense my 50-minute routine into 15. I almost forgot to brew coffee. Opening time rolls around and the first group of customers comes in. It's a group of our local police officers, led by the captain. I guess they are about to do a shift change. One of the officers in the group is the one who blocked my driveway. The captain orders coffee. I regretfully inform him that there's a 5-minute wait for coffee because I got to work extremely late. The captain asks why, so I pulled out my phone and explained that one of his officers blocked my driveway for 45 minutes for a routine traffic stop. The captain proceeds to shout at that officer in front of all of his colleagues and exclaims that nothing short of a life or death emergency should block my driveway if it will interfere with him getting his morning coffee. It was never blocked again, and the captain always got his coffee at 6 AM without interruption. The last story is called Total Wine. There's a specific wine I used to pair with food. The closest Total Wine that had it was a 60-mile drive and it was storming outside. I wanted it for the holidays because most likely was going to be cooped up inside. So I drive over. This used to be my typical Total Wine until I moved 2 counties away. I go in and pick up the wine and get some other stuff for holiday parties. I was in there for maybe an hour and it comes time to check out. The cashier asks me for my ID, so I give it to her. Then she tells me that she needs to see the ID of the person I was with. I'm confused. I'm alone. She says she has to go get the manager. Okay, fine. He comes out to tell me that she told him I was with someone and they need to come back and bring their ID or they won't sell it to me. I told him that I wasn't with anyone. He asks to see my ID, looks at it and says, "Well, unfortunately, you look young." Are you serious? He tells me that I can come back tomorrow, alone. I find it extremely disrespectful to tell someone they look young while you are holding their ID in your hand. Not to mention, I've been shopping at that exact location for about 4 years and have never had a problem. I told him about how I drove there and have been shopping there for years and that I even have a second form of ID. He was just kind of giggling and saying no. So I left, very angry. It was late, around 9 PM, and then I had the about hour and a half drive back home in the rainstorm. At home I was upset about it all night, and the next day I went into the one close to my house to get the other stuff I was getting. Unfortunately, that one was out of the specific wine. That's why I didn't originally go there. They were pleasant as usual, actually beyond nice, and didn't even ID me, which just goes to show the other location was on some kind of power trip or something. Then I got an email from them to review my experience, which they send every time I go there, and I never do it. But I decided to select the location I had the bad experience and give feedback on it. I wrote exactly what happened, and then the next day I got a call from the store manager. Turns out the guy that night was an assistant manager or something. However, he was much more pleasant than the woman that called me. She was extremely rude and condescending and told me that she reviewed the cameras and that someone walked in with me at the same time and that made us a party. I told her I didn't know them. She said it didn't matter. So apparently people can't walk into Total Wine at the same time as you? Then she said that the employees were watching me and that the person left 30 minutes before I went to check out and they saw it. Okay, so? Also, if that is the case and that is your policy, why didn't you say something when you saw the person leave? We could have cleared up the whole situation right then and there. Instead of continuing to allow me to shop for another 30 minutes and waste my time to know that when I came to the checkout you were going to deny it. I told her even if that is the case, someone can't leave a store. And she said, no. To complete the transaction, they would have to drive back with their ID. This made me extremely angry, because even if that is the case and that is your policy, at least you can offer an apology for the inconvenience or something like that. Not just call me to argue and stir the pot. I was already kind of over it, because it had been like 2 days. But just the whole attitude and nastiness about the whole thing was really insult to injury. So I decided to look up their policy. Their policy clearly states that this only applies to parties at checkout. So only for the people that are with you at checkout, which makes sense, or is at least more understandable. Another policy I read that was interesting was that for any online order not picked up within a week, they will issue a full refund to your original payment method. My friends and I were sitting home drinking the stuff I had gotten at the other location that day. I was telling them what happened, and they were all shocked. I used to work retail for a long time, specifically during 2020. I know what an inconvenience it is to set up big curbside pickup orders because they take up a lot of space on the order shelf. So drunk and mad, I decided to enforce their own policy on them and make a $10,000 order for the soonest possible pickup time, which they promise orders ready in 3 hours. I made sure to order the cheapest, heaviest bottles I could think of so that it can take up the most amount of space in their curbside. And I made sure to only order like 1 or 2 of each so they couldn't just give me a case. They had to get individual ones. I ordered their whole supply of Tito's since it's popular and it's the holidays and I know people are going to be looking for it. And this Total Wine has its curbside order section in the front behind a counter where you can see it. I know when customers saw it, they would ask for it and then they would have to explain how someone ordered all bottles and they are back there on reserve. Then they'd probably get grouchy and ask for a manager. But the manager would be busy because I also made sure to order a lot of bottles behind glass, so they would have to run around with their keys scrambling to get this order ready. I know how much stuff like this throws off a schedule and annoys the manager. I loaded up the cart and stopped when I got bored and placed the order. I got the email confirmation that specified that you have to wait for the pickup confirmation email and that pickup times aren't guaranteed. So I thought for sure they were either going to cancel the order or call me or something. With the email, they sent their pickup policy that states specifically the recipient of the order needs to be 21. So you can have other people in your car not 21? Well, 5 hours later, I got the pickup email. It took them longer, but I was still surprised. Then later, I got a pickup reminder email. Then 3 days later, a second reminder. Then on day 7, I got my final notice email. And then on day 10, I got a phone call. It was the manager, acting like a completely different person this time, asking when I was coming for the order. At this point, I think she knew I was messing with them, because it had been 10 days and she knew my name from the previous feedback thing, because when she called she asked for me by name, and my name was on the order. So I told her, yeah, I went to pick it up and was told I looked too young, so I just went to the other Total Wine and picked up the same stuff there. She got mad and said, are you seriously not coming to pick this up? I just said no, and she just hung up on me. I hope she had to explain to her higher-ups why the store had to refund someone $10,000. They were supposed to automatically cancel the order at the 7-day mark, but she didn't call me until the 10th day. So I called their customer service line to cancel it, and she told me some stores wait till the end of the month to do it. I'm assuming the manager was trying to hold out on refunding until the end of the year for better numbers. Retail does that. I made them cancel it right then. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.